MS is a chronic demyelinating disease of the central nervous system, or CNS. CNS is really the part of the nervous system that makes up the brain and the spinal cord. There are CNS abnormalities in persons with MS where there is damage to the protective covering or myelin sheath that surrounds nerve fibers in your brain and spinal cord. When the myelin sheath is damaged, nerve impulses slow or even stop, causing neurological problems. Considering the neurobiology of learning disabilities, we know that there may be genetic factors, environmental influences, and biological influences, all of which lead to central nervous system dysfunction at the basis of the presenting problems. We want to focus on the cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain, comprising the cerebral cortex of the two cerebral hemispheres, or the left and the right hemispheres. We are focusing on the four lobes of the cerebrum as they involve intellectual functions such as memory, attention, awareness, thought, and language. Just to give us a frame of reference, we also must know Broca's area, a region in the inferior left frontal lobe, which affects articulation and word analysis, and the Wernicke's area, a region in the left temporal lobe, which affects language comprehension. Let's get back to MS and its connection with neurobiology and cognitive function. While the Food and Drug Administration has approved disease-modifying agents to reduce disease activity and disease progression, this is by no means a cure. But there are other non-medical intervention strategies to improve new learning and memory performance in persons with MS. While MS is not considered a specific learning disability, such as dyslexia, dyscalculia, or dysgraphia, persons with MS may share characteristics, as MS is neurological in nature, heterogeneous in nature, and may cause areas of weakness in reading, writing, spelling, math computation, and reasoning. Because MS can affect brain function, a person's attention span and thinking abilities, such as the ability to reason and process and remember information, may be impacted. In addition, motor function and information processing skills can make writing challenging, as persons with MS may also experience visual spatial difficulties. For the purposes of this demonstration, we are using informal accommodations to supplement the student's learning process outside of the classroom. We are combining two techniques. First is the Neurological Impress Method of remedial reading instruction. This method was first introduced by Dr. R.G. Heckelman in an experiment in the early 1960s. It is now referred to as an assisted reading strategy. The technique was developed to improve reading fluency by providing an oral model of the passage at the same time that the student is reading the passage. This lowers the student's anxiety and increases visual, kinesthetic, and motor sensory input. Hi, I'm Christina and this is Sherry, and we're practicing reading fluency as well as reading comprehension today. What we did was we took a look at Sherry's guidelines for her assignment, and she's actually doing a literature review of about 10 journal articles, and that can be really overwhelming. So what we're going to do is start with one, and we're going to practice the Neurological Impress Method, which will help with reading fluency. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have Sherry guide along with her fingers, and I'm going to read out loud with her. Slowly and gradually, maybe picking up the pace a little bit, but making sure that we are adjusting it to where it's very comfortable for Sherry. Inadequate social support, mother's lack of education, mother's cognitive immaturity, and greater maternal stress have all been suggested as possible factors contributing to poor social and educational outcomes for the children of teen mothers. The children born to the youngest teen mothers are at greater risk of being an indicated case of child abuse or neglect and being placed in foster care than are those born to older mothers. The children of adolescent mothers are at higher risk for problems and affect regulation, including both flattened affect and aggression. Children born to teen mothers often do not have an even start in life. They are more likely to grow up in a poor and mother-only family, to live in a poor or underclass neighborhood, and to experience high risk to both their health status and potential school achievement. Nice job. The next technique we're going to practice is the story memory technique, and that is something that will help us with visualization
also contextualizing information.
Possible factors contributing to poor social and educational outcomes for the children of teen mothers.
So what we just read were some of the possible factors that contribute to these things. And what I've done is printed off some pictures. And so I wondered if you wanted to reflect on those and see kind of what comes to mind as it related to the article we just read. And this is the first one.
I would have to say that what comes to mind is mothers that are born with low income risk different negative outcomes.
Yes, absolutely. Poverty, they mentioned, was one of the possible factors.
Her age and how her brain isn't completely developed.
Mm-hmm. And so they called this in this article cognitive immaturity. That's perfect. And then this is the last one. We can all kind of identify with this sometimes.
Overwhelmed, stressed.
Oh yeah. So greater maternal stress. So these are the possible factors contributing to poor social and educational outcomes for the children of teen mothers. Poverty, inadequate social support, lack of education, cognitive immaturity, and greater maternal. But are there any of these that maybe you can identify with on a deeper level or that kind of come to mind for you personally?
Personally, I would have to say money, overwhelmed.
It's one of the most rewarding experiences being a mother, right? But there are some stresses that come along with it. That's great. Okay. So, well, the last thing I'd like you to do is just close your eyes for me. And I'm just kind of going to read through what we just did to summarize and just help you develop any kind of picture, whatever comes to mind. Possible factors contributing to poor social and educational outcomes for the children of teen mothers include poverty, inadequate social support, lack of education, cognitive immaturity, and greater maternal stress. You got a good picture? Mm-hmm. Okay. Some ways to follow up with this method are to use more drawing techniques in which Sherry would actually draw some of the things that she visualizes and make them a little bit more personal to her. She may not identify poverty with just a dollar sign as some of us do, and so using more of something that's unique to her